Good. Okay, well, hi, welcome to our little webinar with Nordic walking groups on Facebook. And we're really delighted to have Jan Hirsch join us as somebody who has some experience in Nordic walking with dogs. One of the questions that I get whenever I'm teaching Nordic walking is, how do you Nordic walk with dogs? Or a variation of it is, I can't Nordic walk because I've got to walk my dog. And Jan's going to show us some things and share her experience in taking her dog out, and she'll have both her poles. So what I will do is turn it over to Jan, and she'll share us with what her experiences have been. We met at Aldrich Gardens in Hoover, Alabama, and where I did some classes, and she's been to those several times, and has really just taken off with Nordic walking. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Jan. Thank you.
Happy to be here. I'm going to go backwards a little bit to tell you my original experiences and what got me to be able to walk with Abby. I started taking some of Leroy's Nordic walking classes up at Aldrich Gardens, and really fell in love with it from the beginning. He's a wonderful teacher, and I just really enjoyed the workout doing this. And this is pre-COVID. And I probably went to 2 or 3 classes and started walking in my neighborhood and loved it. And then COVID hit. And probably a few months after COVID hit, I adopted a second dog named Abby. She's a little 15, 16-pound terrier mix. Very, very high energy. My other dog's almost 15 and very low energy, so never thought about it with him. But Abby loves to walk, and I needed to walk her. So I started just doing regular walking with her, just, with her harness on, a leash, and just walking her up and down the streets around my neighborhood. And she loved it, and I loved it. And I did not do any Nordic walking because I didn't know how with the dog. I couldn't figure out for the life of me how I could use both poles and still be walking a dog. And so I stopped doing all my Nordic walking because I felt too guilty leaving Abby behind because she needed to be walked. And I lucked out when after a couple of years of doing this, I took a class with Leroy up at Veterans Park. It was, I think, a 2 or 3 hour workshop. And while I was there, I asked Leroy, I said, do you know of any way I could possibly walk my dog and do Nordic walking? He said, well, I've not done it before, but I think there's some YouTube videos that you could go look at that might be able to help teach you. So I got home and started watching the videos and said, oh my God, there's no big deal with it. I can do this. So I read up on what I needed to get as far as how to do it. And I went on Amazon, which is my favorite shopping place in the world. And I got the few things that I needed. And we were off and running, and we've been Nordic walking since. She loves it. I think there's a few criteria for being able to do it with a dog. I think you need a dog who loves to walk and who likes to lead. I think that's really important, because if you typically have to drag your dog on a leash, I don't think it's going to really work very well. I think you could do it with any size dog, but I think the dog needs to like to sort of move ahead so that you can use your sticks at the same time the dog is walking. So I've got a video to share with you to show you what equipment I've got and how to put it on. Very inexpensive, and you'll size it appropriately for the size dog you have. And then Leroy will show you a video of me actually just walking her out in front. My husband shot it last week. So without further ado, let's see, I'm going to share the screen. Okay, let's see.
Okay, good. I can see it.
You can see it? Okay, good. So this is the couch and the belt that comes that I got. And this just goes around my waist. I keep my cell phone in it, and bags, my food bags for the dog. And right here in the middle is where the leash is going to attach. And this is Abby. And this is just any type of a harness. I got this particular one made by Easy Dog. attached ring right here. So I'm now going to get the special leash I got, which is, this particular one is made for small dogs. There's different sizes, so if you have a bigger dog, you would definitely want a heavier duty one. I wanted a very lightweight one, which is perfect for Abby, because she's about 15, 16 pounds. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach the leash to the little ring on the harness. I'm going to attach the other clip onto my belt, and we're ready to go. So all I have to do now is grab my sticks. Now this only works, I believe, if you have a dog who loves to walk and likes to lead. If you've got one that you've got to pull all the time to get them moving, this would not work well. But for a dog like Abby, who loves to go out for a walk and she likes to lead, this is perfect. So off we go. Okay, Leroy, you can take it back now and show the second one. Are there any questions on that first? You're muted, Leroy. You're muted.
There we go. Any questions before I flip to the other? Okay.
So this next one's
Right.
very brief. It just simply shows me walking her.
Yeah. So
That's
this will be real short.
That's my older dog in front. He's leading the way.
Okay. Here we go.
That's it.
All
Just
right. Looks very efficient.
very easy to do. I mean, I swing my arms as much as I want. You know, she may not always walk a straight line, and if I need to get her back in line, I'll literally take the stick and just sort of move her back so she's sort of right in front of me. But she loves it, and I love it, and it's a way for us to do it together.
Yeah. Now, one thing with the polls, I think you got the polls from me, didn't you?
No, you tell me which ones to get. I got
Okay.
those.
Did they? How did you handle the pooper scooping?
When I need to pick up, I just take one of them off and use that hand. I've got the bags with me. I just put her in a wait command and I just pick it up and take it with me.
So those poles have a quick release gloves, right?
Yes.
That's the point I wanted to get to, was that's one of the things why I like quick release gloves, because there's a lot of convenience when you need to detach from your poles just real quickly to do something.
I didn't have those on the first set of poles I got, and I like these much better, and that's one of the reasons. And I like the fact I can adjust them.
Right.
The right height. So yeah, I'm very pleased. These are the Yorks, and I love the fact there were so many to choose from color wise, because I love colors. So I got a multi I love.
Yeah, York Nordic. That's right.
Yeah.
And anyway, for those who are looking for poles online, I do have promo codes with York Nordic, and also with a group called ZFit. York Nordic sells their own brand of poles, travel and 2-section, and then ZFit sells a couple of brands. Nordics, they sell Lecky, which is a very popular but a premium priced brand, and they sell one called Nordic Walking Nations. That's another brand. But I was able to get promo codes with them so that people that use it can get a discount when they order online. So that's a good deal.
That's great.
So Sandra, any questions from you on dog walking?
My only concern, my dog is much larger. He's like 56 pounds. And normally he's pretty good on the leash, but every now and then he'll get distracted and he may, make a sudden change in direction or pull when he normally doesn't. And he's very easily capable of pulling me off my feet. So I'm a little hesitant in using just a waist lead, because if he catches me off guard, I wonder how easy it will be for me to get the situation back under control.
Well, the good news about it is you've got your poles to help stabilize you if he jerks, but you certainly could take a fall. I mean, 50 or 60 pounds is a big dog, a strong dog.
Right.
So, my dog is easily distracted too, but she's only 15 or 16 pounds. Remember now, though, you know, you can easily drop one of your poles or put one pole in the other hand and use your hand on that leash. I mean, you can pick it up yourself, you know, from the waist. You could either clip it off or just leave it on, but there's plenty of leash to actually, you know, pull back on it if you need to. Even if
how long is the leash that you're using? Is that like a 6 foot or?
I think it's 4 or 5. I think they come in different lengths. I didn't want a real long one with her. I want her a little closer to me. And because she's walking normally in front of me, I've got plenty of, you know, plenty of room to use my poles on both sides. I think the thing to do with a bigger dog would be to get it and try it. On Amazon, you know, if something doesn't work out, you typically have 30 days to return it. So if you try their equipment, you know, the leash and the harness, or whatever pieces you get, don't have already, if it doesn't work out, you certainly could return them. We're not talking about high-end stuff anyway, but I mean, if he's a good walker in general and loves walking, he might really.
He loves to walk. You know, we religiously walk twice a day, but again, I have never tried to incorporate the Nordic walking with it simply because of his size.
Yeah, it's something to think about for sure.
Now, did you start her out just walking with the waist belt and the lead and then add the poles later, or you did it all at one time?
I did it all at one time. I mean, she likes walking so much, I just didn't see it as a big deal, and she didn't either. I mean, it took 2 or 3 days for her getting used to those poles on either side of us, because it's definitely a distraction, I think. But she's never been afraid of them, and it's never been a problem for us.
Okay. All right, cool. Maybe I'll give it a try then.
Starting with the waist belt and the lead only is actually an interesting idea, because I would guess you would first take the dog out and test the dog. So if you just have the lead and the waist belt, you've got a little control because your hands are completely free. You can, you know, grab the lead. So and then if you really want to do it, and but the dog does have a tendency to pull hard, would it be possible to train the dog? I'm not a qualified dog trainer, but maybe there's some people that can give you advice or help or actual lessons in training the dog to actually lead well.
He's normally not a puller. It's just if he sees something, you know, that really piques his interest, then he'll get a little more excited.
Yeah.
Well, another thing to camp on to Leroy's idea, which I think is terrific, you know, if he does well with you just, you know, not using the poles and you've just got him, you know, on the lead, perhaps you take one pole and see how that works with how he does, and start off with one pole use versus at the same time.
Yeah.
With a bigger dog.
Yeah.
Now, one alternative could be holding you know, a regular leash, holding the leash in one hand, and then taking one pole with you. And if you have quick release gloves, you can pull for a while with one hand and hold the leash with the other hand, and then after a while you can switch and do the other hand, so that you're still getting some upper body work. And then after, you know, if you get the dog back to the house, whatever, you know, go out for a little bit more to with both hands, something like that. So there's some alternatives. Now,
yeah, I think staging it with a big dog might be a lot more practical. For me with Abby, with her size, it just was so simple to do. I have total control. She's not going to jerk me in any way.
Yeah. No, I'd be interested to try it though, because I know when I used to jog and I would take him with me jogging, he was more reliable and straight as an arrow and kept the same pace. It was actually, much more controlled than when I'm walking him.
Wow, that's
So
well, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun to Nordic walk with her. I mean, yeah, that way I get the walk I want and she gets the walk she wants. So it's really a
absolutely.
win-win
Yeah.
situation. So if you can do it, I highly encourage you to try it.
Well, I appreciate the tips. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Now, let me show something here because I'm going to put in a plug for a demo that Jan is doing for those in the area, but I'll also point something out that you might find interesting, Sandra.
Uh-huh.
Let me share the screen here. Okay. So first, I'm putting in a plug for a fun walk that we're doing in Veterans Park near Hoover on August 26th. It'll just be a fun walk, but Jan is going to come out and she will just demo and walk with us, and so that people can see it happening. And if there is interest in the area, maybe we'll uh, do a special day where people can bring their dogs after they order their leashes and things like that. Okay, but Sandra, I did want to point out, you see this lady here who's walking
Hmm.
her dog on, with a waist and all belt and all that.
Yes.
She just took an extra long lead. She didn't have a waist belt. She just took an extra long lead and tied it around her waist, tied a knot and took off with the dog.
Hmm.
And that's an idea. If you happen to have a really long lead and you don't want to spend the money right away, you could experiment that way as well. She was
Uh-huh.
successful. Her dog just trotted right along with her as
Hmm.
she was doing it. So
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If I can get him into enough of a rhythm,
yeah,
that he'll just settle in, and I won't have to worry as much about distractions.
yeah, yeah,
So,
and
but
I suppose in those early walks, if you stay alert, uh, you can, if the dog does start to do something, you can just reach over and grab that lead
hmm.
and
Hmm.
rein him in. So uh, that could be something there. But again, August 26th, if you're in the area of Hoover, Alabama, and I'll be posting it as well so that people get the dates. Jan will be there to do a little demo.
Jan and Abby,
Yeah, Jan and Abby, that's right.
my precious little dog, who's one of the loves of my life for
That's
sure.
right.
I'm telling you, for 2 years, I could not leave her home and go out and Nordic walk. So I just put that
Yeah.
on hold until I got this figured out.
Uh-huh.
Well, great. Sandra, any other questions?
Nothing that I can think of at the moment, but I certainly appreciate the tips, and I'll take everything into consideration. And hopefully, a few months from now, I'll be able to get Buddy out there with me while I'm Nordic walking.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
if you
do that,
do,
be sure to let Leroy know so we know that you're doing it and how it's going.
yeah, post
Will
something
do.
on Facebook groups, because that's the whole point of the groups, is to just share experiences, tips, and ideas, inspire people to get out and do it. In fact, with Jan's permission, I might just post that little video of hers walking the dog as well. And it might be fun, Jan, to share out the video of you outfitting for the walk, the one you showed earlier.
It's too large. I tried to send you the actual video and I couldn't
Okay,
get it to go. That's why I sent you a link. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. So I don't
okay.
know how best to do that.
Well, we'll figure it out. But it's a pretty straightforward process. Just put the belt around your waist, hook up the lead to the dog's harness, and take off.
That's exactly. It's very simple
Yeah.
and very inexpensive. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, thank you, Jan, for doing this.
my
And
pleasure.
Sandra, thank you for joining us. And
Thank you.
the good thing about doing these live instead of waiting for the recording to come out is you get to ask the questions right then and there that you might have in mind.
Well,
So
thank you both again. I appreciate the tips.
You
Great.
bet. Take care. Thanks for joining us, Sandra.
Yeah, and I
Sure
will
thing.
stop recording.
All right.
Bye.